The worst training I ever got in my career as a financial professional. All right, so I've been in this business since 1998, amigos. It's now 2024. So that's, 26 years I've been doing this. Pretty experienced, pretty knowledgeable, all right, pretty experienced. I cut my teeth at Vanguard in 98. Vanguard training was pretty good. For a rookie, it was good, quite good as a matter of fact. Went to Schwab after a couple years. I was on the, quote, trading desk, unquote, there. And I learned a lot about trading options and stuff like that. And when you're saying you're on the trading desk, it's literally just a computer and your computer monitor in your cubicle. Not very fancy, but we're on our trading desk. But I did learn a lot about trading. After that, I went to work in a bank. So I went to retail banking, initially as a platform rep, just home equity lines, car loans, credit cards, mutual funds, and annuities. Now, that was really good training. But then I went to become a small business banker, as a branch manager / business banker. And the training I got there was phenomenal. They sent us to North Carolina, to Charlotte, North Carolina, to get trained. And our trainer was a lady named Rhonda out of Grundy, Virginia. You can't get much more western in Virginia than Grundy, Virginia. And the Appalachian through and through Rhonda was, but man, she knew her tax returns. It was crazy. Grundy, Virginia turned out to be the place where that freaking African immigrant shot and killed 22 people or something like that at the, I think it's called the Appalachian Law School or something like that. Freaking scumbag. But anyway, I'll never forget, that was without question the best training I ever had in terms of my ability to understand tax returns, not be intimidated by them and all that. It was phenomenal. And then after that, I went to Legg Mason, which became Smith Barney, which is now, who knows what else, it's probably Morgan Stanley, I don't know. But the Legg Mason training was when I became a broker, essentially. It wasn't a wealth manager, it was a financial advisor. And that was, without question, the worst training ever. Because all they train you is how to sell. How to sell, that's it. We did role plays and how to sell. It had nothing to do, it was just capturing assets, how to get money in and make money off. It was so bad. And there's all these guys, man, in there, and they're just telling them how to sell. Not why to sell, but how. This is how you do it. We're going to do role plays on people throwing objections at you. This is what we do. They actually did one part of that training was pretty good. They sent us out into Baltimore to cold walk businesses, and that was actually pretty interesting. I remember doing that and went up to some Asian dry cleaner place, and they were interested in working with me, even though I wasn't living in Baltimore. I was living in the Shenandoah Valley. But anyway, other than that, it was nothing. It was just how to sell, how to overcome objections. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'll never forget that. It's like, but how do I get people to object to me to begin with? You see what I'm saying? Like, they're always assuming you already got the people in front of you at your desk. And I'm like, yeah, but how do you even get that? That was the beginning of the do not call stuff too, by the way. So do not call just came out. Do not call list. And you had to go through this stuff on the do not call list and all that stuff. So you couldn't just cold call every single name in the freaking phone book. You couldn't just cold call, people you saw at obituaries and call the widow whose husband they showed in the obituary just died. That's what insurance people used to do. That's actually a pretty good tactic. But you couldn't do that anymore because do not call list. I'll never forget that. So they sent us back to our branches. They're like, all right, now Sally, I got to get people to talk to. It was crazy. That's where Edward Jones, I don't know what Edward Jones does anymore, but I knew they used to just say, go knock on doors, man. 30 doors a day or something like that. I did that myself. All over Harrisonburg and Bridgewater, just walking up and down, knocking on doors. But they didn't train me that. I learned that from a couple of Ed Jones guys I knew. So I'm going to do it too. You know what I'm saying? I'm a good-looking guy. I know what I'm talking about. I can talk with people. I don't think people will be intimidated by me. I'm not that huge of a guy. I'm a veteran. So I got a lot of stuff I can talk to people about. But, still knocking on doors is tough, man. No one wants to answer a door and get solicited. I hate that. Going to people's businesses, they got a business to run. They don't want to hear you. But I did that. Sucked. But Legg Mason, they didn't train you on anything. They said, this is what happens when you get a prospect. It's like, but how do I get the prospect? Anyway, so then I read a book, I read a book by Nick Murray called The New Financial Advisor. And that changed everything, man. Because Nick Murray says, you got to build your arc, basically. And what he said is, you're basically going to allow X amount of people on your arc. 50 people, 50 clients, 100 clients, whatever it is. And after that, you're done. But how do you get those clients? you take those that you want to take. You don't take those you don't want to take. You know, Legg Mason, they weren't doing that. They're like, take on anybody. And then you got this huge client list that you don't like half these people, and B, you can't serve them anyway. But then they don't talk about how do you get those people to begin with. You see what I'm saying? And so I did a lot of cool. You could buy a list of people who weren't registered on Do Not Call lists, and I did that, and I freaking called up. I mean, I was calling all the time. I was just out there hustling, man. And it's tough business, man. A tough business. And I'd take any freaking guy that could fog a mirror. I'd meet you at the freaking cemetery if you could fog a mirror at midnight. You see what I'm saying? And not a good way to build a business. I mean, it takes a long time, especially when you got 4 kids and no income coming in. It takes a long time. But I did it. And I did it somewhat successfully, but man, the point being is what Legg Mason should have told you is the why to sell, like Nick Murray did. You're selling because these people need you. And if they don't need you, then move on. But certainly don't get involved like, oh man, I'll send you some literature and I'll call you back in 3 weeks. No, don't do that. You're just wasting your time. What Bill Good would say is you're polishing turds, if that makes sense. You got to find the people who are interested in you and want to do business with you, and you got to make sure you want to do business with them. And Legg Mason never said that. So just go sell. You know, that's great in theory, but again, how do I find somebody to listen to me? And that's where YouTube comes along. It's great. Now I can just put my words out there for all to see. And I still get tons of people said, I've only just recently found your channel. I'm like, really? And then I find people's channels that got over 1 million subscribers I never heard of. I was like, how did I never hear this guy? Crazy, man. So that's what makes YouTube so great, is because you can spread your word out there for everybody to see. You got to do a little bit on the algorithm and stuff. I get that, but still, it could not ask for a better methodology of getting your word out there. But a lot of people take too much time worrying about, did I say the right thing? Did I do this? Did I do this? Oh, do I look? Dude, you just got to get out there and start saying stuff. That's what I did. When I finally read Nick Murray's book, I said, I'm just getting out there knocking on doors. And people can like it or hate me. I don't care. I'm just going to be who I am and say, this is what I think you should do, and here's why. And that's right around the time Vanguard started offering ETFs as well. And I said, man, and Legg Mason we didn't allow Vanguard ETFs on our platform at that point. But I was like, man, I'm going to start offering Vanguard ETFs in part of my repertoire. And Legg Mason, they didn't allow that, but I said, well, I'll advise people to say, hey, look, you can have half your portfolio in Vanguard ETFs, and the other half of me managing it for a fee. Again, I was moderately successful. I wasn't killing it, I'll tell you that right now. But then 2008 came along and everything just fell apart. So, all right, I figured I'd share that with you. God bless. We'll see you.